Good, bright, and beautiful Monday, everyone. Welcome to GardenStateWeather.com, GardenStateWeather.blogspot.com, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. I'm meteorologist Robert Smith with the Superior Forecasting for the Northern Mid-Atlantic region, 24 hours a day on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube as well. This is the morning and afternoon edition of the video forecast discussion for this absolutely perfect day, the 4th of May. 2020. We've got azure blue skies, beautiful temperatures in the low 60s, and it's just going to be great. I'm going to go sun tanning and bike riding in just a little bit after this. And we've got your Cinco de Mayo forecast coming up as well. Start off with the New Jersey Kogarah's reporting stations this morning as that precipitation moved off the East Coast this morning. Generally less than 1/10 of an inch, nearly nothing here across northern New Jersey. The shorelines here in central and southern New Jersey received the most. And if we take a look at the additional Kogarahs here, I'm sure we can do that. Let's see. Central New Jersey, that's where we saw like next to nothing here in the north, and 18 to 12/100ths of an inch even as you got into southern New Jersey shorelines here, and southwestern New Jersey up to, 1/3 of an inch, and then 3/4 of an inch or so across Cape May County. 10:30 this morning, air temperatures rising well into the 60s and low 70s here. So this is a gorgeous day. It's a little cooler right along the immediate shore. Let's see if they fix the wind chill. No, but doesn't matter. Let's go back to the temperatures. Our minimums today are on the chilly side, but in the low to mid 50s across the north and mid and upper 50s in the south. The maximums today right now are where they stand in the mid and upper 60s to low 70s across the area. So again, these temperatures currently now were forecasted to be slightly cooler in the model guidance. And I suggested yesterday that the model guidance underdoes insolation at this time of the year in its algorithms. And we can see that already because it's quite obvious. So I'll be outside sun tanning in just a little bit. Wind speeds are all out of the west and basically out of the west this morning, and they're generally light. And the wind gust, obviously, we don't have really many, but there's a few stations reporting 5, 10, 12 miles an hour. Visible satellite looks wonderful this morning. Just a few cumulus clouds in the air here. This is our next disturbance heading in toward the area toward tonight and tomorrow, but for today, perfection. Low-level water vapor channel. Lots of dry sinking air convergence here in the atmosphere over all of the northern mid-Atlantic and the East Coast states. This has to be watched because this area here in the mid-plains and southern states, southern plains here, developing into clusters of showers and thunderstorms. We'll check in with the Storm Prediction Center in just a moment. And again, very dry air and very hot conditions here across the desert southwest and across Florida as well. If we take a look at the composite radar, and we can. Next lab. Come on, next lab. Here we go. Here's our showers and thunderstorms now into Kansas and Nebraska, and also into portions of Arkansas now and Oklahoma as this shower and thunderstorm activity continues to break out. This is the only action right now going on for today, so we're going to go into the Storm Prediction Center right now. Before we do that, we'll check in with some small craft advisories here along the south shore and east ends of Long Island, the Connecticut waters here on the north shore of Long Island, and the south shore of Connecticut. And over the interior here, these into Georgia, into Dover, Delaware, and Delaware proper in southern and central New Jersey. This has to deal with like some minor tidal flooding at around times of high tide during Wednesday. This area here in Pennsylvania, that has to do with a little bit of frosty conditions overnight tonight. Other than that, nothing's happening right now. Storm Prediction Center's mesoscale analysis. Here is our low pressure area here off the Maine coast here. It's high pressure building in across the Great Lakes and southern Canada into our area. So, we're covered by good weather conditions now. This storm system is developing across the upper Midwest and the central and southern plains. And we've got a convective outlook that looks like a slight to marginal area here over Kansas and Oklahoma into parts of Missouri. parts of Arkansas. National fire weather danger. Of course, the atmosphere is completely dry for dry thunderstorms or elevated risk for fires here across portions of New Mexico and northwestern Texas, and also for portions of Wyoming. For today, we have a severe, thunderstorm watch box now in effect for this area, which is basically covering eastern Kansas and western Missouri for isolated severe wind gusts and possible with these thunderstorms. And we just showed you that on radar and also on the satellite imagery as well. Bunch of thunderstorm boxes lighting up across Kansas, all the way down to Springfield and just west of Springfield, Massachusetts, Missouri actually, and down into Fort Smith and Texas here. So we know that this band of showers and thunderstorms could contain some hail, some very strong lightning. Probably get into the lightning right now if we can see this, because it's early in the morning, but there is a lot of lightning. This is all live lightning here that's occurring over the central and southern plains this morning. And with some of this convection across the mid-plains here into the southern plains here, we're dealing with hail reports, some wind damage, and some flooding from these thunderstorms here, and downwind of Lake Erie into the Boot Hill here of New York State. We have some light rain showers, but outside of that, things look pretty calm. The only area of concern here right now is this. So as mentioned nationally, we have a freeze watch here in the off the Great Lakes here of Lake Erie and ports of Lake Ontario here, Buffalo. These areas would be for tonight, probably into tomorrow morning. And also, of course, we have the severe thunderstorm watch box and severe thunderstorm warnings here across the Central Plains, which we just discussed. Some of the rivers continue and their tributaries continue to rip down through the Mississippi with some flooding here. Red flag warnings with all these dry conditions over southern Arizona and New Mexico. Actually, southern New Mexico and southwestern Texas. And outside of that, and heat advisories here. And of course, across this area here in California and parts of southern Nevada and New Arizona here, we have severe excessive heat watch in effect. What a contrast and comparison here. Look at all these temperatures that are in this is Fahrenheit now. So, in southern Canada around Hudson's Bay, temperatures are in the single digits to teens. Meanwhile, temperatures are rising well into the 60s and 70s here across the northern mid-Atlantic and the southern mid-Atlantic into the 70s. You get into the 80s here this morning at about 10 o'clock this morning. And across the southern plains here and Texas and all this cold air still spilling into southwestern, Canada here into the Cascades and portions of the Intermountain West as well. But, this area here is really going to start to broil and heat up over the next couple of hours. 24-hour temperature change. Well, it's cooled down here in the northern areas here where it's, there's some precipitation and it's colder. Obviously, it's very cold and chilly here across the northern areas of the Great Lakes, and that's why the freeze watch is probably in effect here across the Great Lakes area here. Temperatures warming quite nicely across southern Connecticut, Long Island, Block Island, all the way down through the mid-Atlantic area, and everything else is just going to start to heat up. Nationally, over the last 6 hours, or let's look at the last 24 hours, there hasn't really been a tremendous amount of rainfall, but there has been areas that have received over an inch of rain across the Ohio River Valley. Portions of Delaware has received some heavier rain swaths here this morning as that area of low pressure moved off of the coast. And also portions of Kentucky and Tennessee, actually, as well. And portions of the central plains, the northern and central plains, especially the central plains. And let's move on. We talk about getting out today in the northern mid-Atlantic and also all of the East Coast, actually, today and earlier this week, because by this weekend, things are really going to change. This is the forecast from Saturday, the 9th of this month through the 13th. Much colder than normal from the continental East Divide all the way into the East Coast, including portions of Florida, northern and central Florida too. The 8 to 14-day temperatures, this was from the Climate Prediction Center yesterday, so they're going to update that this afternoon. Warmer than normal conditions continue across the west like they have been during this forecast period, Saturday through the 13th. And then when we get to, let's say, the 11th through the 17th this month, it's still quite chilly, especially across the Ohio River Valley here into the northeast. As far as precipitation, now this cold air doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be wet, because it's really not. If we looked at the national composite, it's going to be wet a little bit along the west coast, maybe the desert southwest here into southern Texas, but everybody else looks pretty normal to near dry from the Saturday the 9th through the 13th, and then the 14th, the 8 to 14-day temperature precipitation anomalies really don't look that impressive to me either. So, we're dealing with more so of the cold air over the region coming up for this weekend and into next week as well, if you live here. National surface chart as of 9:20 this morning from Digital Atmosphere Software and weatheroanoke.com. We just had a cold front pass off the coast. Here's some lingering precipitation here across Delaware, but I think that's offshore right now. We'll take a look at that. Secondary cold front here, another cold front there. Here a cold front, there a cold front, everywhere a cold front. And here's high pressure building in from southern Canada through the Great Lakes. So, things are going to change. And along this frontal boundary, everything is going to start to stall out, and precipitation will move back into the area as we approach Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. Notice it's very dry and very hot here in the southern plains and Texas, all the way into California. This is a nice loop this morning of the visible satellite imagery as the sun's coming up across the central plains. You see all the billowing cloud tops here and the thunderstorms here from Nebraska down through Arkansas. And the dry air that was in place earlier, or the wetness that was in place earlier, is definitely left, and we're left with some cumulus and mixed sky conditions for this afternoon. We'll get into the temperatures right now. First, we're going to look at the National Digital Database's forecasted highs for the next 7 days. Today, obviously, it's going to be very hot. From like the Carolinas all the way down to the southeast, and especially in Texas, where it's very dry. Temperatures approaching or exceeding 100 degrees, and that extends into the desert southwest, and it extends into southern portions here of Arizona and New Mexico and Southern California as well. That doesn't really change too much. Things cool down a little bit more tomorrow across Texas. So this is a big change from 90s and 100s today to back into the 70s and 80s tomorrow. So that's a dynamical frontal system that's coming through, but not much has changed here along the southeastern coast, but a lot has changed here. If you notice the temperatures today in the 60s and 70s already, in the New Jersey, New York, Philadelphia I-95 corridor, cooling down quite substantially. Notice how the desert southwest and California remain the hot spots on Tuesday, Cinco de Mayo. And of course, Cinco de Mayo is going to be chillier here than, a lot of places. The heat tries to rebound a little bit through the southern states. It never really changes much from Florida through much of Texas, but the heat rebuilds across Arizona and southwestern and southeastern California actually on Wednesday. And that heat just continues to expand throughout the southwest. Temperatures try to, they try to recuperate a little bit everywhere else on Thursday, May 7th. And still, here comes another cold front. So temperatures in the northeast on Friday continue to be quite chilly, but they're trying to come back here in the New Jersey, New York, Philly metro area. But when that cold front comes through, it's going to knock them down once again. The desert southwest very hot in the over 100 degrees in many places. And of course, Florida staying nearly stationary where it is, and the heat expands through southern and central California and up through the continental west of the continental divide now by the time we get into Saturday, but things really cool down in the Northeast where temperatures are going to be in the low to the mid 50s for this Saturday. So we're in for some cold, chilly weather on the way this weekend coming up. Sunday it tries to even out just a little bit in the Northeast and ease up. Temperatures don't change much from the Central Plains, the Southeast, and again, Texas and west of the Continental Divide here into the desert Southwest in California. It's rocking. Once again, there's a large, vast difference between the European model guidance from last night and this morning's run of the GFS for this weekend, especially, well, focusing on Friday. And I do believe that the GFS is out to lunch. And I do believe the European model guidance is correct here. So we're going to use the European model guidance. Everything is calm for today and tomorrow. You know, everything is calm through Tuesday, May 5th. You know, everything, you know, unless you're south of Washington, D.C., south of that area, not really much going on. May 6th, that's a different story. Cinco de Mayo looks good, but, you know, there could be a few showers around here on Wednesday night and Thursday morning, Wednesday afternoon into Thursday morning, but that doesn't look too impressive to me either. Here is where things change that I think is imperative. There's a very strong cold front coming through, and I think the European model guidance is handling this much better than the GFS, and we'll show you that in just a moment. The European model guidance has the cold front coming through. It's a little dynamic, so we're going to have some precipitation along it, and then that quickly moves off the coast by Friday night and Saturday morning, and then a very cold air mass. Look at this with, you know, areas of downwind snow showers from Kingston and Toronto and, you know, Ottawa and Montreal. I mean, we've got a cold air mass coming up for the weekend, which is going to modify rapidly at this time of the year, as it normally should in both streams, the polar and the subtropical jet streams, especially the polar jet stream at this time of the year with the sun angle. And then the next precipitation event comes through on Monday, May 11th, into our area with some showers on Tuesday morning, Monday night, Tuesday morning of next week. That moves out and the more high pressure builds in. So this doesn't look too wrong to me. When we look at the GFS for, you know, the same time period, it doesn't have anything on Friday. Look, what do you call that? I call that wrong. New Jersey, New York, Philadelphia, I-95 corridor temperatures for day in the low to the mid-60s is already in the 70s in many of these areas. So, you know, this could be slightly off from, the observations this morning. Then another area of, you know, cold front passes through the area. So temperatures tomorrow in the upper 50s and low and mid-60s. As we get into Wednesday, it's chilly. And so Tuesday is Cinco de Mayo, but it looks nice out here. Wednesday is my mother's birthday. God rest her soul. She passed several years ago now. And it's in the upper 50s and low and mid 50s. So it's, I mean, this is well below normal for this time of the year. Temperatures are near 70 now for normal highs. So this is like 15 plus degrees below normal. Thursday we rebound into the upper 50s and low and mid 60s. This tells the tale on Friday. Temperatures are cooling off into the 50s across the west, into Pennsylvania and New York and Connecticut, and they're in the upper 50s and low and mid 60s south. This is a dynamical cold front, and by the time we get into Saturday, this tells me that the GFS model guidance is wrong, because when you go from this to this tells me that there is going to be more precipitation in this area. That's correct on the European model guidance, and probably not so on the GFS. So this is cold. Next weekend is cold. We're dealing with temperatures that are like 20 plus degrees below normal for this time of the year. Now that's Saturday. Now as we go into Sunday, it tries to rebound a little bit, but it's still below normal just about everywhere. And it starts to climb back up on May 11th again, but still below normal to the north and near normal to the southwest. And again, but still below normal on Tuesday, May 12th, and again, the same story, below normal again. As we head from this weekend into the next 10 days, it's below normal. Pretty much what the Climate Prediction Center was showing. So that's a wrap for this Monday, and of course you do enjoy it out there. I'm going outside right now to suntan. Normally I take a bike ride, but I might do that later this afternoon. But I think I'm just going to spend some time out in the sunshine and be outside. For everything live, it's GardenStateWeather.com, GardenStateWeather.blogspot.com, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. I'm meteorologist Robert Smith. You have a great Monday afternoon out there.